Well, that's essentially what it's done for us anyway. Like, it's created more of an awareness of what it is that has forged your life to where it is now.
Yes.
And then giving you some strategies to be able to change that. So self-mastery provides you with that, the skills, the strategies, the little hacks that you can use then to go, okay, look, when I'm, this is the story that I'm telling myself now.
Yeah.
And changing that whole story to...
Change your story, change your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Hey guys, it's Calvin Coyles here from Young and Wildly Successful. I have the beautiful Jess and the very handsome Jarrod with me from Supercharge Your Life. Jess just launched a whole new business called Rise of the Women.
Correct.
Wow, we're going to see her riding on the streets with the leaders of the free world. Guys, it is an honor and a privilege to have these guys. In every business, you want to have raving fans, people that love what you do, that will do everything that you have, and will keep coming back for more. And Jarrod and Jess are beautiful examples of this. And not only are people that have just committed to their own personal growth and development, but have then inspired others to do the same, and are a really rare example of people that come and do great work and then take it and really try to implement it as best that they can. And we first met back in late 2015 when we did one of our intro-based events, and they have different names. Back then it was about network marketing because the guys were doing some stuff in that space. Now we have the Shift, we have Breakthrough to Success tours, and we have a variety of different events. But we met at an intro event. You guys decided to do a crazy thing, and that was to join us for our self-mastery program.
Yeah.
And then a couple of months later, in March 2016, came and did self-mastery, and we're sitting here now at the end of June 2017. So a lot has happened, to say the least, in anyone's life since then. I know my life's very different. But I'm really interested to explore with you guys. If we start with, before we jump into anything, let's explore who you guys are. Tell us a little bit about yourselves and what you're doing today. And then let's rewind the clock back to 2015, 2016 and look at what was life then, what were you working on, and then we can explore a little bit about what you got from self-mastery, because it's so different for everybody. We always say this, people come to self-mastery for really one of two things in my experience. They're looking for some clarity, some direction in life. They want to find out why they're here. They want to be able to feel like they're moving forward with something in their lives. They believe they're here for big things, and they want to make a difference in the world. They just don't know how that's going to happen or what they're meant to be doing, and so they sort of live in analysis paralysis. So that's one thing. The second thing is they come because they're already high achievers by nature. They want to get there faster, but they understand that they're self-sabotaging, they're holding themselves back, or they've got something there that is just keeps coming back up for them, whether that be self-sabotage, a fear of failure, some sort of internal conflict, and they want to release that. So that's traditionally why people come, but what they come for and what they get are two very, very different things, as you guys know. You come, I'm coming to learn about this, and then what you actually get is so much deeper than that, and you realize, actually, I've been holding on to it for a long time. But let's start by doing a quick intro. If they don't know who you guys are, Supercharge Your Life, talk about that brand, talk about you guys, talk about your journey. What are you guys doing now?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously we're running our own business now as well, Supercharge Your Life. So this business wasn't even around before we actually met Calvin back in the end of 2015. It was so long ago now.
I've aged a lot in that time.
But just seems like yesterday.
Exactly. I was in my early teens at that point, right?
You definitely wasn't. No, he wasn't. I'm joking. So yeah, before self-mastery, just to obviously give you guys a bit of an understanding, I was working up north at the time. Before that, I was in a heavy sales background. That was something that I'd always done, and then moved into moving up into the mines and working up there as well. And Jess and I actually met just before that. We met in July 2015.
Correct. Yeah.
Just through a business that we were introduced to at the time. And this was a time where we were looking for something different. We were looking for different results. Then obviously met Calvin there in I think it was November 20.
Yeah, it would have been
October, November in 2015.
The Rendezvous Hotel.
The Rendezvous Hotel.
Yeah. My second home for most of that time.
And yeah, obviously we went through a hell of an experience there, which obviously we'll talk about a little bit further in the video as well. But it was from there that we realized that there was time for something different. It was time to change our story, change our life, and do something that we're a lot more passionate about. So we launched Supercharge Your Life. We've gone through a few little changes and everything with that as well. Our main specialisation is helping people sell more products and services. So we do sales training for entrepreneurs as well. We've also started up a wealth creation side as well, which we're also investing in property at the moment and so on too. We've got a full team behind that as well. This is all part of, obviously, ever since we've been around Calvin, all these different little opportunities have come up, and it's amazing what happens when you just take one step to change, and then all of a sudden, where are we now? 2 years down the track, life is so different. And then the third sort of aspect as well is obviously a part that obviously Jess is just launching now called Rise of the Women, which I'm not sure she'd like to talk a little bit more about.
My journey for that started when we did self-mastery together, and the whole change in mindset, in seeing life, just really opened my eyes up. And what I hear a lot in the workforce is that women don't get the opportunity to go up in either their job, or they're afraid of something. And having that experience at self-mastery just wanted me to want to help women change their life, because obviously I've had a dramatic change in mine due to self-mastery, and yourself has just given me the motivation to want to move forward, push forward with my life, and show women that yes, we can be successful, and that we can empower others to do the same.
Well, look, that's a massive area of growth in and of itself, and you guys certainly don't take on small projects. I mean, you're looking at sales coaching for entrepreneurs, probably one of the biggest growth areas in the marketplace today. The process of creating wealth for yourselves, and you're doing some great work with one of our partners, Roy. And then, for yourself, looking at female empowerment is a massive space. We know in Australia that we're the lowest in all of the OECD countries for gender pay across women, and it's already naturally going to be a huge issue when you have so many women that struggle with superannuation and other things, because simply put, most women are out of the workforce for a good chunk of time when they're raising children, so it already puts them at a disadvantage. And I think that a lot of women don't appreciate, and this is something that we teach in self-mastery, it's not just a female thing, it's a thing in general, that your greatest challenges, your greatest lessons are your greatest teachers, but they're also the most empowering things for you, because you can take those things and move forward in life. The skills you have to be good at to be a great salesperson, or to be just a great woman, or to be a great mother or partner, are the same set of skills that you can then take and incorporate into your businesses or into your lives to try and apply and move forward. It's like your problems are not going to go away, but you're going to get better at dealing with them with a set of skills and tools that you're working towards, which is great. Talk to me. The people, plenty of people that watch this video are probably going to come along to an intro night to find out what we do. And we give a great experience on those intro nights, but it's only 3 hours, and self-mastery is 40 hours. Over 3 days, and you're out of your freaking mind. Tony Robbins once talks about this. He says, people won't sit through a 90-minute movie that somebody spent $100 million to make, but yet we'll still get people to sit through 40 hours of our self-mastery experience. If someone's watching an event and an experience, they came along to the intro night, what was your first experience like with us? When you came to the intro night, what was it like? And you're only getting a taste, not even a taste, but you're getting a sniff of what that event could be like at self-mastery. What was it that got you to go, yeah, cool, I think we should give this a crack? What was it that motivated you to want to do 3 days and nights with us in the beginning, if you can remember back to 2015?
Yep, I can. I sort of remember it. Yeah, it was just yesterday. Myself, just to give you an understanding as where I was at back in 2015. Where I was at is I was looking for something different, but I still had some patterns there that were holding me back. I had a bit of an ego there that basically was saying to me, that I know how to do this, I can do this, I can do it by myself. I was a bit of a lone wolf back then, and it's been a process for me to get rid of that over the last few years. And obviously some of the things that, like when I went there to the intro night, the things that I really loved was the fact of Calvin has some incredible energy, for starters. He's lightening up there on the stage. He talks very well. He's
very quickly.
But just the electricity that you get from him. Obviously, you'll be sitting here watching this, and he's electric. He knows what he's talking about. He's been through a lot of these changes himself. He's been through the struggles. He knows what works and what doesn't work. And the biggest things that I really loved was the fact that he said that you can actually if you change your story, you can change your life. And the biggest things is it all comes down to you and just changing that story. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And because we were looking for those changes, right? If you look back to the last 5 years and the last 5 years that have gone by, if you don't change something now, the next 5 years will be the exact same. But if you're wanting something different and there's an opportunity presenting in front of you, just go for it and don't ask questions. And that's really what we did. And from that night, and we just, it's not a question of will it work? It's just a question of, will you work the process at the end of the day? And obviously we loved what Calvin spoke about. We obviously connected with him and his, the things that he was talking about on that particular night. And we're so glad that we did take that journey and take that leap to jump into self-mastery, because that was it was life-changing. It was the start of our journey, and it's a very long journey ahead, and we're super excited for. But I'm gonna touch as well.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from your perspective, Jess. And guys, you vibe off these two beautiful souls. Jess is very softly spoken, very, very gentle, and I still remember her at Self Mastery, and it's a whole different person I see before me today. But I'm interested to know, you came at Self Mastery from a slightly different perspective. Jarrod's very gung-ho, he's very shoot first, ask questions second. I'm sure Jarrod was already at the back filling in the sales form, and Jess is still listening to the seminar, right? But this is beautiful. And by the way, people often say, look, I've got a partner and I want to speak to them. It was great that both of you guys were able to be there on that night. So that worked quite well. And I always say this, couples that grow together, stay together. And I had a very successful 10-year relationship with my last partner, and we were together from 16 to 26, and that was because we just grew together. We did stuff together, and whether you do personal development or not is irrelevant, but it's about just continuing to do that. What was the driver for you? Because it was very different to what was the driver for Jarrod.
Yeah, well, I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah. No one does, but
so for me, prior to going to the intro, I didn't know what I wanted in my life. I didn't know where I wanted to go, where I wanted to be. Just like all my life, I've been told to, I'm sure like many others, to chase the money, chase the dollars and stuff like that. And before then I wasn't happy in my position. So at the event of the 3-hour event, just what you said just made me realise, I have to change something in my life. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm going to be the person that gets old and regrets everything that I do. Yeah. Or regrets everything that I didn't do, I should say.
Yeah.
But
even more powerful.
Yeah. So that just made me want to, get on board, just to experience what it was all about, and then from there, just everything has just changed. My whole life has changed. Yeah. We've grown stronger together as well after the 3-day event. Yeah. And we've just grown together. Everything that we do is a partnership between us both, and that's what's amazing about this, is that we connect on a whole new level now.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to sit down with these guys, because I haven't seen Jess in a couple of months because she's so busy these days, and I see Jarrod all the time because he's hustling in the office next to us. But it's rare. It's rare to see a young couple that are doing great things, but it's even rarer again to hear that word from you, which is that everything that we're doing today is a partnership. And if you're a couple watching this, I know there's a lot of people that have ambition out there, and you want to feel like you're working in a partnership together. You want to feel like you're a team, and even if it's not working, at least it's not working together. As opposed to it's not working and I'm together, but I'm not really feeling like we're working as one cohesive unit. One of the things that we talk about in self-mastery is this principle, this premise, something that I live by, which is called live life on your terms. And the beauty of this is that life on your terms is different for everybody. It's different for Jarrod, different to Jess, different to me. And if you can find out what that is, then the first step is to figure out what that is. The second step is to actually believe that you can have it. And then the third step is to make it so. And what self-mastery is incredible at is just stripping away any of the BS, the bullshit or the belief systems that you have in your mind that says that life is meant to be like X, when in fact I really want it to be like Y. Mm-hmm. And we learn that, whether it's from media or family or friends or expectations or just our own experiences in life, that there's a way that life should be, and there's a way that life is. And the massive disconnect that we have, the reason why 1 in 2 have anxiety or 1 in 2 have depression and 1 in 3 globally have both, is that we have this disconnect between this is my life right now and I am actually happy in it, but it's not what I thought it should be. And what it should be is based on what I've sort of picked up along the way in this sort of that handbag that I carry through life. Talk to me about what life on your terms means for you guys. And that's an evolution, right? It was once said you don't know what your dreams will be when you're living the life of your dreams. But for you guys right now, you are traveling around. You've just come back from the Hunter Valley working with one of our partners. You're guys investing in property. You're running your own small businesses. You're working. You're doing things. And then also there's the reality as well that you have full-time jobs as well, and you're making that happen as well. So talk to me about life now, and then I'd love to know about the breakthroughs you had at Self Mastery. But explore that principle for me. What is life on your terms? What does that mean to you guys?
For me, it means to be able to travel whenever I want. And also, like me, I also think about the future and, like our future family. And for me, it's educating the future generation of what the world is actually like. Yeah. And also being open to anything that's possible, really. Like, living life on your terms, for me, is just being able to do what you want without anyone saying, oh, you can't do that, or you shouldn't do that. And just being free from anything, really, that you think or feel is holding you down.
Yeah, I love that. Jarrod?
Yeah, look, living life on your terms is exactly what it says it is. It's living life on your terms. It's doing the things that you love doing, things that you're passionate about, and having no limits around it as well. So, if, say, for example, you want to travel to New South Wales, the Hunter Valley, you can do that. Yeah. If you want to start a new business, you can do that. There's no reason why you can't. You can. All it is just it's a switch in mindset. A lot of people seem to think that, I need money to make money. For example, I must have money to be able to make money. That's a common thing. But the truth be told, is you don't need money to make money. You can make. It's the whole idea of entrepreneurship. It's about piecing puzzles together to work out how 100%. You can actually do 100%. That. And that's what living life on your terms is if you can be happy today if you want to be happy. You don't have to tie yourself to that outcome. And that's what also self-mastery does for you. It helps you and gives you the process so you can be happy now. You're not going to be happy when you make $1 million in your business, because it's not going to happen in
unless
overnight.
You feel happy now. This is something that I'm always interested to explore, and we go deep in this in self-mastery. In fact, the whole day in the first day of self-mastery on Friday is really just about breaking down the constructed reality. It's about looking at what are the principles of success and how do we find a way to turn decades into days. How do we look at someone like Roy? You guys who spent some time with him, one of our mentors that helps our clients around wealth creation. The guy's 70 years old. He's got 70 plus companies, does $1 million a week in cash in his businesses. He's done over 100 million property transactions. Now, I'd love to create that level of wealth, but I just don't want to have to wait until I'm 70 plus to do it, right? So how do we take 70 years of his life experience, digest it, distill it, and incorporate it into our own lives? And we do that in health, we do that in wealth, in business, and in mindset. But the basic principle of it is this. There are two different ways to approach life, and we've had this conversation many times. One is, and this is what most people on the planet do, they have, I want to feel happy, successful, fulfilled, like I'm making a difference in the world. And I feel as though, and I've been told by everybody that I know, that if I feel those things now, I won't be motivated to feel them in the future. So we have this big aspirational goal, i.e. when I make $1 million, when I buy a home, when I get married, when I have kids, etc. It's some way in the future, and I'll put all my happiness, all my fulfillment, all my success there, and then I'll feel pretty average at best now, feel shit, I'll beat myself up, so that I'm somehow more motivated. It's like the carrot and the stick. I'm somehow more motivated now because I feel shit about my life to want to go and create success in my life. The only challenge that comes with that is, as high achievers, we get pretty close to that mountaintop and we realize there's another mountaintop and we just keep moving the goalposts. So you might be really successful, but if you ask people how they feel, I feel miserable, not good enough, not enough, like I'm not worthy, because they've conditioned themselves to feel like that, because that's the only way they know how to be motivated. And I used to live like that. I know you guys did as well, But there is another way, and that's shifting your mindset and the way you feel to go, actually, instead of me reaching out in 5 years to feel successful, I'm just going to feel successful now. I'm going to feel fulfilled and happy and joyous and abundant, but I'm also going to feel motivated and driven. And instead of me trying to climb the biggest mountain of my life with no food, no water, so that I can get to the top and say, I did it without any of those things, why not make life a little bit easier? Because the climb's going to be hard enough. And feel supported, feel loved, feel grateful, feel ambitious, and climb with those resources so that you get to the top faster anyway, you don't burn out in the process, and you don't leave anybody behind, but you actually go through it together. Shifting that mentality is probably one of the most important things we do in self-mastery, because it just changes the way you approach life in general. But let's dive deep into that program. And keeping in mind, I'm going to ask this question, which is, what did you get from the program? But, one, it was a year ago, and two, it's a 3-day experience. Friday is 12 hours, 9 till 9. Sunday is 16 hours, and Saturday is about the same. So we're talking at nearly 40 plus hours over the course of 3 days. To try and encapsulate that experience is like going on a European tour for a month and then coming back and saying, what was it like? You can't possibly begin to describe it. Friday being about those pillars, Saturday about emotional mastery, doing anchoring, and then looking at how do we hardwire our nervous system, and then Sunday being transformation day, beliefs in the morning, parts integration, emotional release technique, and decision to destiny. So if you can, what were some of the big distinctions and big breakthroughs you guys got from that program as well, if you can take your mind back to March 2016?
My big thing was my trust. Due to past experiences, I found it very hard to trust people, and going through the 3-day event, it made me realize that I was playing the victim in my own life. I was stopping myself from moving forward in my own life. And up until that experience, I didn't realize that. And then your whole mind just shifts and your whole thinking changes, because you realize that it's up to me for my life to change, not based on what other people say, do, think about you. It's all up to you, and if you want it, you can get it. I still remember, I'm getting a little bit emotional, I still remember that experience. I still remember self-mastery as well. And if you're listening to this, it's very easy to brush this off as going, oh, well, Calvin just told you to look at it from a different perspective, and it's really not that. When we look at self-mastery, we're looking at teaching you the skills and tools, and more importantly, the neurolinguistic techniques to hardwire your brain differently. So it's one thing just to say, well, you know what, forgive and forget and move on. But if you've had experiences in the past and you don't trust people anymore, it's a little bit more than that. And I think it's a little bit naive to think that just because I stand on stage and I'm really good looking that your life's going to change, which I am, and it will, but that's not the point, right? So talk to me about, you no interest in really rehashing the story here, but how long was that an issue for you, not trusting people? How many years? Most of my life, up until that event. Okay,
so we're looking at over a decade.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what was the activity that we did? And we teach, I think, 30 or 40 of them in self-mastery. But what activity for you was the one that really got you the biggest breakthrough in the experience? What was it that sort of made the biggest transformation for you?
There was, I can't remember the name of it, but where you close your eyes, and then the words of what you said made you rethink about it. And
emotional release, was it Saturday or Sunday?
It was the last day.
Sunday. So I think it would have been emotional release or parts integration.
Yeah. So that was the shift for me, to make me realize that, what people may have done to you, it shouldn't affect your future. And that was the biggest change for me.
How long was that exercise?
Not very long.
Not long?
No.
No. And we normally teach it within about 20 minutes or so, right? Just 2 minutes. We normally teach it within 20 minutes. So what's important for people to realize, that for people playing at home, is you can be dealing with a challenge or a frustration in your life for 10 years, 20 years, and in some cases, you guys are pretty young, but we work with people that are in their 40s and 50s. You imagine dealing with something for your whole life. And in one 20-minute exercise on a Sunday, it can be the moment that changes everything for you. And before we jump on to Jarrod, for you, that might not seem like, if you're not dealing with this, it might not seem like a big deal for you. But if you're living with that, what's been some changes as a result of getting rid of that and going, cool, I'm no longer going to play the victim in my life. I'm now going to make that change. I'm going to allow myself to be open to allowing people in as well and trusting people, giving people the benefit of the doubt. And I'm going to start to live from a new paradigm. What's been the sort of light to day difference for you in the sort of 12 to 18 months that's happened since?
The biggest thing for me was happiness.
Yeah.
Like even with Jarrod, like we just muck around, laugh a lot, and it's fun now.
She decides what clothes to wear. Got no clothes to wear, and she's got a full wardrobe.
But it's making life fun and interesting, not boring and this has happened so I can't do this, and it's being able to realize what you want in life and just absolutely go for it.
I think there's a beauty in what we're sharing here, and if you hearing what Jess is sharing, as a safety mechanism, what we do, particularly when we're very young, is we put up walls and barriers. People call it an armor or a shield, and we do it because we're trying to protect ourselves from feeling negative experiences, and that can be as little as heartbreak from your first separation, or it can be a traumatic event. We call these what's called SEE, significant emotional events in our lives. And when you're a young kid, that could be a big thing or a little thing, but as a young kid, it could be the same, because you take crayons off a young child and it becomes a significant emotional event, but they could have also lived in an abusive background. So whatever your experience is, if you're holding on to that and you're not experiencing all that life has to offer, it's because you've got that block up. And that block is done to try and protect you. But I want you to understand is that the things that keep us safe are also the same things that stop us from thriving. Because we're designed and hardwired in our nerve system to avoid pain as much as possible. The only challenge is that huge pleasure lives on the other side of it. We can't achieve the joys of wealth and the creation and abundance if you're not willing to take the risk to put yourself out there. You can't experience the joy of love and passion and intimacy if you're not willing to take the risk and put yourself out there. You can't go and explore the world if you're not willing to leave the shelter of wherever you live. So there's this beautiful balance between safety and security, and then obviously your joy and adventure. And if you're living from a place of I need to protect, then you'll never be in a position to fully express. So what keeps us safe also stops us from feeling all of this joy. And so the best way for you to identify this in yourself is to go, cool, on a scale from 0 to 10, if life is meant to be fun and joyous and brilliant and alive, and I say in all of our videos, live strong, live with passion, make today and every day a phenomenal life-changing adventure. If you're not actually doing that, then you're holding yourself back in some way because you're trying to keep yourself safe. And it might not be an emotional thing, it could just be a belief, I don't know what it is for you, but self-mastery will help you break through it, because every day you should be feeling incredible. And that's not to say every day you will be, but you'll certainly have the skills and tools to feel like that, and it's just about you feeling all that life has to offer, the good, the bad, the ugly, the everything in between, and knowing that you can navigate that. I think what you've done has been really powerful, and you have to have huge courage to come to the event, and even more courage to be willing to let it go and release it, because we know people that are in their 60s and 70s and 80s that have been holding on to stuff forever, and they're happy playing that victim because it serves them, but unfortunately they miss out on a huge amount in their lives as well. What about for yourself, bro?
Yeah, look, my specific experience in everything with self-mastery was a lot different to Jess's, obviously, but similar sort of process gone through is like myself. What's happened for me is like I grew up, my mum brought me up, and for us 4 kids, and there was times in our life where we were, things were tough. Mum gave us everything. She got cancer back in 2009, it was, which is a very, very tough year of our life. And it was at that time where myself, as the eldest in the family, had to stand up and really be the strong person for the family. And it was a lot of that over the years I've really held on to. And I have always had this barrier up, like a lot of us, we have that barrier up in front of us, and we don't want to break down and cry. We're strong males, we can achieve anything. We've got to stay strong for our partners, for our family, for everything, and we've got to let them know that everything's okay. And my experience with self-mastery was really creating more of that awareness, because I was putting that armor up in all situations, and it was really like, it was a protection thing for not only myself, because I didn't want to look like the weak person breaking down and crying in front of people, or I didn't want to be the person that, I basically wanted to be the person that sort of stands up and just lets everyone know it's okay. But my experience with it was that, you don't have to have those barriers up to be looked at as a strong person that can hold things together. And I can't remember situations growing up where I cried much or anything. And through that process there at Self-Mastery, it's basically just helped me change my beliefs around all of that. It's helped me change a lot of the stories that I had coming up, where I was playing a victim to myself as well, and self-sabotaging myself so much that I was holding myself back. Because like, I know a lot of people around our age, in the millennial type sector, we have big dreams, big aspirations, and we sometimes we underestimate what we can do in 10 years as opposed to what we can really achieve in 2 weeks. We we overestimate what we can do in 2 weeks and underestimate what we can do in 10 years. And we're brought up in a life where we can have things now, where yes, we can have things now, but it's a process of making things happen. And I was holding a lot of emotions deep within myself. I wasn't aware of the sabotage that I was doing to myself. And really, it's throughout the process and everything there, from going to self-mastery is really given me more of that awareness as to what I was doing, how I was self-sabotaging myself, how I was holding myself back from moving forward and actually achieving goals and going out and actually creating our business and all that sort of stuff as well. And basically as a bloke, just becoming vulnerable, becoming more of a man, and being able to obviously look after Jess, look after my family a lot better that way, by just releasing a lot of the barriers and the armor that I had up.
We talk for hours just on what you've just shared there, Jarrod. I think a few things I want to point out for everybody that's watching this. A lot of young men make this decision, because I grew up in a family not too dissimilar. I haven't had the challenge of my mum with cancer. However, my parents separated when I was about 9 years old. And for everyone that's listening, we make 3 decisions. We have a filter that we put around the world, and we make 3 decisions in every moment. You're doing it right now, but in significant events, we do this as well. We ask ourselves 3 questions. What's happening to me right now? What does this mean to me? And then what am I going to do about it? When my parents separated, it's what's going on, what's happening, my parents are separating, what does it mean to me? I could have chosen a lot of different meanings. I chose the meaning that there wasn't enough love in the world, dad wasn't going to be here anymore, therefore, what do I need to do? I need to step up and I need to become dad. So from 9 years old to about 19, I basically filled the role as my dad in our family, which meant that mum had a second divorce, one for my dad and one for me, because I started acting like dad, talking like dad, being like dad, and I did it all subconsciously because I was trying to protect mum, because I thought that's what I was meant to do as a man. And you had a similar experience, just from a different format, which is now go, what's happening? What does it mean to me? What am I going to do about it? And then we start living. And I want you to imagine that people put so much emphasis on what I'm going to do for work, or who am I going to be with my life, my relationships, and what am I going to do with my life? And they don't consider those 3 questions that they've already made. Because you can end up going down a completely different path in life based on a moment that happened a few years ago, or if you're dealing with it now, based on what you decide to those questions can end up determining the entire course and trajectory of your entire life. And it's not even something that you sit down with a professional consider. You just do it in your head automatically, and then you go, how did I end up in this position? Well, you decided it when mum was going through that challenge and you had to become a certain way. And women and men have a different way of dealing with uncertainty. Guys will traditionally not acknowledge that there's uncertainty. We'll just say we've got it all figured out and we'll pretend like we have the answers. And there's a lot of strength in that, but there's a lot of arrogance in it as well. What's more powerful, what's stronger, what's even more masculine is to acknowledge when you don't have the answer. And that itself has strength because it provides vulnerability. But that doesn't mean to say that you're weak if you don't have the answer. It actually means you're stronger because you go, I don't have this figured out, but I'm going to figure it out. As opposed to having this sort of cavalier attitude of going, I've got this figured out, when in fact, you don't open yourself up for support, you don't act as a team, you're not actually a partnership, you're just one person that's too scared to say, I don't know, and that's not to say that you're doing it for the wrong reasons, done with the right intent, it ruins the opportunity for you to work as a union, as a partnership. So, you know, it's so beautiful what you guys talked about. And you can imagine as a young man, and there's plenty of young women that are in the same position, but as a young person, imagine carrying that weight and that burden of expectation to be the provider, to be the protector, to be the support person for your whole family when, you know, as a child, you're meant to be protected and provided for, not doing the opposite. But a lot of us, because of our family dynamics, are actually now the ones that are stepping up. And what's important to know is this. By the time you get to 30 years old, 95% of your neurology is set, which means that you are pretty much, you know, set in the way that you do and act and believe and think. It's very easy to change after that point in time, but it's much easier to change before 30. So the sooner that we can work together to help you identify how have you got to where you are in life, consciously and subconsciously, and then change your direct trajectory, means that the habits that you were really ingraining at 40 and 50 and 60 and 70 are the ones you chose, as opposed to the ones that you picked up along the way through life. I thank you both for sharing. You know, I really appreciate it. It takes me straight back to where we were. Let's fast forward. You know, what's been some of the big things? You know, it's one thing to let it go, and then you've got this sort of space where you go, cool, I believe in myself, but what next? All right, and in that time you've done a lot. Not only setting up Supercharge Your Life and the growth of that, but you're now doing some really exciting sales training as well, and that's growing. You're doing some great mindset stuff. You're now doing some investment stuff with Roy. Give me the sort of, you know, snapshot view of what have been some of the big things, and more importantly, some of the little things that have changed since you guys did the program with us back in 2016.
Well, for me, I owe a lot to you because of how things have changed and the opportunities that have come up.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't meet you, we wouldn't have met Roy, we wouldn't be doing stuff with him, and we wouldn't be in property, we wouldn't have started a business, and
yeah.
Just everything's changed.
So let's explore that a little bit. If you're interested in investing in property, one of the things we did was we've got a mentor of ours, Roy, who works with our clients, and as I said, he's makes about $1 million a week. So you guys are doing some property stuff. Explain that to me. How many's in the team? What sort of stuff are you working on at the moment? Can you talk to me a little bit about what you guys are doing there?
Well, with our team, we're very fortunate because 5 members in our team, including us, actually we came together because of the programs that we did with you. And so we formed a team through that, and now we've got a 6th member in our team, and everything's just going really well with that. We've put offers on properties, and everything's going as well, not as planned.
Never does.
No. But everything's going in the direction that we want it to.
Wonderful. And then we've done some business training as well together, which has been great. You know, how have we seen that implement and impact on Supercharge Your Life? Talk to us a little bit about the scope of that and how that's evolved over the last sort of 12 to 18 months.
Yeah, so just over the last 12 to 18 months, so I believe it was about mid-2016 that we first did 15-15 with Cal. Program, or actually everything that he's taught us in that program, we're still implementing into our marketing today. Obviously there's a few different strategy changes and all that sort of stuff as well, because obviously it's an ever evolving market, especially using Facebook ads and stuff like that as well. But yeah, we've got some solid structures in place now, which is really, really good. We've got training programs up and running. We've got a few people coming through for that as well. That is all obviously thanks to Calvin as well, and helping us with those particular programs and stuff. And we still do a lot of work with Calvin obviously as well, and he's exceptional at what he does.
You guys are not bad yourselves.
But yeah, like expanding further as well on what Jess was saying as well, with our property side, we are negotiating on a few properties at the moment too.
Nice.
And a lot of it we won't need any money for as well.
Great.
Once again, just a mindset switch.
Yeah.
So obviously a lot of the stuff that we've learned over the years, a lot of it has all come down to mindset. A lot of it's all come down to just changing your beliefs around certain things, because a lot of the things that a society have told us are incorrect.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not done. I just did a video about this as well, about how to deal with negative people. And I truly believe that people that communicate with you from a place of lack are not doing it because they don't believe in you. They're just doing it because they're afraid to see you fail. And most people are being taught the path that is the most likely to avoid failure. But we know that if you're not willing to take the risk or put yourself out there and do something different, it's never going to happen. So just understanding and unpacking that for yourselves makes such a big difference. Tell me what's next for you guys. You've got Supercharge Your Life, you've got Rise of Women, you've got the property investment side of things as well. If we were to do an interview in 12 months, what's on the cards?
Well, we want to venture into the health side, but obviously we're not like fitness trainers and stuff like that. So I've spoken to my trainer.
Right.
And
you were just saying before you're going to do some mindset training for them.
Yeah, for her clients, and then we're going to do a partnership for her. With her, so then she can come and train the people that come through us. And,
Great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because if you don't look after yourself and obviously what goes into your body, you know,
of course,
you're not gonna be 100% there all the time.
Yeah, with you. Nice.
Yeah, main sort of goals for us over the next 12 months is we'll be doing 2 property transactions over the next 12 months. So that's obviously pretty exciting.
What do you
as well.
expect to generate from that? So just people, because most people, when I think of property transactions, that probably won't understand what that means.
Yeah.
For you guys, just to unpack that a little bit for me.
Yeah, of course. So the properties that we'll be purchasing with no money down. So basically that will be us taking control of the property, adding a little bit of value to the property as well, a few little small little things, and then basically sell it on without actually having the property purchased. So we'll be generating anywhere from 25 to 50k from each transaction that we do.
Fantastic. And that's with no money from yourselves?
None of our money.
Okay. That could be something interesting to have a look at. Wonderful. Nice. And so you got 2 of those happening as well. What about for you guys personally? Any trips planned? Any holidays or exciting adventures? You're going to be probably going over to Queensland again. Oh, sorry, Sydney, Hunter Valley again, more than likely.
Queensland is next though.
Oh, Queensland is next. Oh, what are you doing in Queensland?
Coaching program with Roy.
Oh, nice. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Can't stop them, guys. Can't stop them. Okay, how can we find out more about you guys? Supercharge Your Life on Facebook?
Yeah, definitely. So just type in the search bar SCYL Academy.
SCYL Academy, yeah.
Yep. And
I'm guessing that stands for Supercharge Your Life.
Yep.
Yeah, we're very smart, guys. Very smart. Nice.
So just search that. You'll find us there on Facebook. You can even just search our names directly on Facebook, Jessica Brunette or Jarrod Harmon. We're both friends with Calvin on Facebook, so that'd be a good place to start.
I can't accept any more friends.